Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Demery, a veterinarian, and certified high performance coach. I have been training hundreds of people over the past 2 months on strategies to overcome all of this COVID-19 overwhelm that we're currently experiencing. And I have been getting some really great questions. And so I wanted to take just a minute today and talk about one of these questions that has come up over and over and over again in these online training sessions. So if you haven't yet attended, go to pauseconsulting.com/overwhelm to learn the strategies to overcome overwhelm in your own life. Then, the question I wanted to answer today is, how do I get out of these negative thought patterns? We get stuck in these ruts, almost quite literally, these ruts in our brains with these negative thought patterns. And, why is that occurring? These are the questions I'm being asked. Why is this happening? Why am I stuck in this negative thought pattern? Why is it so hard to get out of this negative thought pattern? And how can I get out of this negative thought pattern? So first, we need to understand a little bit about how the brain works. So every time you have a thought and you repeat that thought, it makes those connections in the brain, those neural connections, stronger. So as we're going around and around, I like to think back when I was riding my bike when I was a kid, and we had this big pine tree in our front yard. And so we'd get on our bikes and we'd race around this giant pine tree in circles around the yard. And our dad would come out and just yell at us and say, stop doing that, stop doing that. And we couldn't understand why, because, it didn't look like there was really any damage there. But after about the 50th time of 10 neighborhood kids going around in a circle around this pine tree, we started digging a rut. And now where all this beautiful grass was, there is now a dirt ring, quite literally, around this tree. And that's a little bit about how our brain works, or a way I like to think about it, right? So as we're digging these ruts with these negative thought patterns, now we've got to start moving our brains into more positive directions and really get those positive thoughts to start digging the rut, so that when something happens that's not super great, what's our first thought? Oh, I've been here before. I've learned something before. I know I can get out of it and do better if I go this direction, rather than, oh, I'm crap. This is frustrating. I'll never get it. I'm not smart enough. I don't believe in myself. Whatever that story is for you that you just keep telling yourself, or that you find comes up over and over again for you, it's so hard to get out because we've made those connections so strong and we've dug ourselves a rut. And I also like to think about back when I was a kid riding my bike on the sidewalk, and boom, I fell into the edge along the sidewalk our neighbors had edged, which means that they basically cut away the grass that's right next to the sidewalk. And so there's this really deep rut, and it's really hard to get your bike out of it. And you just go boom, down into this rut, right? So here we are, our bike stuck in this rut. No matter how hard we pedal, we unless you were just that really cool neighborhood kid that could just pop a wheelie and get right out of that, you literally had to stop your bike, pick your bike up, put it back on the track, and move forward. And that's a little bit about what we have to do. So when we start having these negative thoughts, we have to stop ourselves in our tracks, pick ourselves up, move over, and start repeating more positive thoughts, and go through that practice and that routine. And this is why people are always talking about these daily affirmations and why they work, because our brain, for as complex as it is, it can be very, very simple. If we keep repeating something to ourselves over and over and over again, we start to believe it. In fact, there's even a word for this and a scientific term. And the more we hear something, the more we think it's true. So this actually happens. The more often we hear something, the more we think it's true. So the more often we're saying negative things to ourselves, the more we believe it and we internalize it. And it also has to do with how we're talking to ourselves. If you're saying I am, well, then that really is assigning something to you, right? And instead, if we start saying I feel, then that can just be saying, oh, right now I feel this. And off I go. And this is how I want to feel. And so with high performance and high performance coaching, we talk about how to generate the energy, that how we want to show up in the world, and how do we summon the courage and the energy we need to show up in that positive way with that positive attitude, just assuming only good things are going to happen. And look, it's not always true, right? There are things outside of our control. Things aren't always happening that are always good. But we do have a choice on how we're going to show up that day, what the thoughts are that we're going to have that day, and how we're going to move forward. So I challenge you today to, the next time you hear yourself say something negative to yourself, or oh, I'm just so stupid, or oh, I can't believe I did that, I made such a bonehead mistake. The next time you hear something like that, stop. Who do I want to be in this moment? And what is the next step to show up as that person who I want to be in this moment? To elevate the conversation, to be that leader that I so desperately wish I had right now. How can I be that role model for others when there's a void of role models in the world right now? And just start asking yourselves these other questions. And if that's not true, what if? What if I was that person? What if I did show up in a positive way? How does that make you feel? And so by practicing these habits over and over and over again, we can stop thinking those negative thought patterns. Because, it's just like going back to the initial example with the ring around the tree. Once we stopped riding our bikes, it gave the grass time to grow, time to recover. And our brains need the same thing. You need to stop digging yourself that rut to give your brain time to heal and to stop getting stuck in that same thought pattern and that same loop of negative thoughts, and to start having a more positive thought pattern and positive trains of thoughts. So we have to stop doing what we don't want to do and then consciously do what we do want to do. And you can think about to any habit that you have that you wish you didn't, things that have just become unconscious or subconscious, and you're just reflexively is happening. All of those things are because we've just trained our brain that if this, then that. And that your brain just doesn't give it any more thought. So now we have to retrain our brains. If that, this, not that, we're going this way. And it just do it again. Okay, this, nope, we're not going that way. We're going this way. And then you say this, nope, this way. And then, it just becomes, oh, this, now we're headed this way. And that's a more positive direction. So if you can kind of understand over and over again, just repeating the same things will help us get to where we want to go. So I hope this serves